Hey everybody, before starting this week's episode, we wanted to stop and talk a little bit about the sponsor of our episodes, and that is Expedition Roasters, the artisanal roasters of pop culture inspired coffees.
You know, in these stressful times where we can't go to the parks and experience all of our favorite things and get those wonderful smells, it's nice to have a bit of that with us here at home, and you can definitely have that with Expedition Roasters.
Yeah, and there's a myriad of flavors that you could choose from depending on kind of what you want to reminisce about in a certain way. I mean, you could easily choose Route 66 Tire Fix, which is their morning blend coffee, which, you know, obviously is reminiscent of Cars.
Yes.
So imagine walking into Cars Land, the asphalt fresh with the water that is evaporating after they cleaned off the entire area, fresh in the morning. You just walked in the gates, something like that. Or you could do Fortune and Glory, which is their Indiana Jones inspired coffee, which is bourbon streusel.
It's so good.
So,
but my favorite is Happily Never After.
Yes, your favorite is Happily Never After, and I have to say that one of my favorites is the Wonderland Coffee Crumb Cake.
That's
good.
And
And for all you coffee drinkers out there, it is such a well-balanced mix of flavor and the actual coffee flavor.
And the bags are super pretty.
Yeah, the artwork on the bags are pretty incredible, and you could actually buy the art on the website itself, too.
Yeah.
From the actual bags.
Which you should, because it's so cool.
Yes. So if you find yourself needing a little bit of a pick-me-up, but you want to reminisce a little bit about the parks, I would highly suggest checking out Expedition Roasters, heading over to expeditionroasters.com and purchasing some coffee from them. You could definitely use our coupon code for your first time purchasing coffee, which is a Duo15 at checkout. And remember, brew your happy place. Expedition Roasters, an adventure in every bag.
Hi, and welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your park map, churro, and hop in line with us as we take you on a coast-to-coast adventure through the world of theme parks, haunts, conventions, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Gabe.
And I'm the other host, Nikki.
And we are
the Theme Park Duo.
We are here once again to fill your ear holes with wonderful theme park information.
Ear holes? That's gross.
Yeah, it does. That doesn't sound the best.
It's pretty gross.
But it is factual.
We're here to fill your beautiful sculpted ears with pleasant noise.
Of theme parks.
I
guess it is a bit more poetic.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, okay, thank you for fixing that for me.
You're welcome.
Anyway, I would like to say thank you to everybody who's left us a written review or just a review on iTunes. We actually have 85-star or 80 reviews in total on iTunes.
That's amazing. When you said that to me, I heard that we had 85-star reviews, not 80 5-star reviews.
I don't know what star reviews are, but I like the sound of that.
It's reviews of varying stars. No, but
are we talking about like galactic stars of sorts, or are we talking about like movie stars?
Stars ranging from 1 to 5. No, but I'm glad.
I'm so confused.
No, it makes sense. But
sure it does. Continue.
I'm just glad that I misheard you, and that what we really have is 80 5-star reviews.
I misspoke. It's not 5-star reviews. It's just 80 reviews. I think there's like 3 or 4 crappy reviews in there. But we still are.
Okay, so we have like 77 5-star reviews?
Something like that.
That's still pretty good.
But 80 reviews nonetheless. We are considered a 5.0 podcast on iTunes.
Sweet.
And everybody who has helped make that happen, thank you so much. And if you haven't already, make sure you head on over to iTunes and leave that review. It helps us go up higher in the standings and makes it easier for everyone to find us and enjoy us. So you are right now.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody, for that. We have a fun episode for everyone today. We're going to be talking a little bit about Knott's Taste of Calico, which is the brand new retail and food event that Knott's is throwing, which opens the gates once again to the park. Yet no shows, no stores, and
no rides.
No rides are open. Just food and retail really is the only thing.
It's basically
and some
like
entertainment.
It's basically like Boysenberry Festival mixed with like their holiday craft fair, mixed with Ghost Town Alive.
Yeah, well, because the characters are up on the
Yeah,
rooftops
yeah.
and interacting with people and, doing their thing. So, we'll get into that a little bit later. We have NICO from Entertainment Connection on the show to talk to us about his experiences at Knott's for this event, because we actually didn't get to go to this one.
No, we didn't.
I'll share a little bit of information after we hear NICO talk about his experiences at Knott's for Taste of Calico.
Yes.
But before we do any of that, we have some theme park news we want to talk about. So let's jump into
The Theme Park Bulletin.
So first up on the Theme Park Bulletin is a little bit of some sad news, but I guess for some people it might be a little bit happy news. That at Walt Disney World, they actually officially announced that Stitch's Great Escape, Rivers of Light, and Primeval World are permanently closed.
Whoa.
So according to some sources, Stitch's Great Escape has been closed and dismantled completely for a very long time.
I was going to say, didn't we know that a long time
Well,
ago?
Stitch's Great Escape closed, and then there was like character meet and greets, and then it was like a treat trail where you could get candy and
But
meet
didn't we-
Stitch for Halloween, and
Yeah.
then it was used for like parking strollers. Like there was a lot of stuff happening inside that building still. So I mean, I think everybody assumed Stitch's was gonna be closed
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
But they announced that it was seasonal, is what the information was.
They announced it was seasonal, but didn't they show like the animatronic like skeleton of Stitch?
there was like some picture from behind backstage of like Stitch's animatronic skeleton
like
and all
without
that stuff.
without
Yeah,
skin.
there
we
was.
we knew
I think
Stitch
everybody
wasn't coming
of
back.
had a hunch at that point.
Yeah.
But Disney officially announced the demise of Experiment 626.
No.
Sucks.
You know what? That's fine.
No more
That's
chili dog burps in your face. I mean, who's sad about that?
You still chili dog burp in my face all the time.
I don't, because
so-
I don't know the last time I had a chili dog, to be fairly honest.
You chili dog burp equivalent in my face all the time.
What the hell does that even mean?
You burp in my face a lot.
No, I don't.
Yes.
I don't burp in your face
You
a lot.
burp around
But what
me.
is a chili dog equivalent?
I
I want to know what that is. I'm very curious to know what a chili dog equivalent is.
I don't. Whatever you eat, I don't know.
How is that? Is it just because it's food?
You burp food flavors in my direction.
Food flavors.
Food
Food
flavors.
sense. Okay, we're moving on. This has gone
Sorry.
too far out of hand already. But
But
also,
wait.
What?
But
What?
do you deny that you do that?
No, I burp at you sometimes.
Thank you.
Like I burp at you, like it's a burp attack.
Yes. Thank you. I just wanted validation.
It's like burp screams.
Yes.
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 Anyway, moving on from my burp screams. Also, Primeval World as well as Rivers of Light. Rivers of Light never really seemed to get very good
It never-
praise from really anybody.
It never
never
got off
struck
the
a chord
ground.
with anybody.
It never
Yeah.
got off the ground. Yeah.
Well, because it was in water. But
Oh shoot. Oh shoot.
that was great. Come on, that was really
It
good.
was.
Right? That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
I handed that to you on a silver platter.
You really did. But
I
it was
did.
pretty good though, right? Come on.
It was
come on.
pretty good. But can you also say that my point was valid?
True. It is valid.
Okay. Thank you.
It never really took off. It never really seemed to strike a chord with audiences at all.
Yeah.
And even if they added or took away stuff, it just never really seemed to change the response. So I mean, that's completely fine. I do see people like comparing it to World of Color and things of that nature, which I don't. No, not in the sense that World of Color is just as bad or anything. I think they're saying the point is you have a show that's just water and has nothing else, and it's better than what Rivers of Light was. But I could understand that Rivers of Light was trying to take it to the next level. It just didn't. It just didn't
get
hit.
there.
It
Yeah.
just didn't hit. And then Primeval World, most people really don't like that ride. A lot of people said it was really painful. I remember it being slightly painful when we went on it, when we went to Walt Disney
Was that
World.
the kiddie coaster one?
Yeah, that's the ones in Dino Land USA and Animal Kingdom.
Honestly, okay. And this might speak volumes for the ride. I remember the queue more than I remember actually being on the ride.
I do remember the queue as well, and I
Yeah.
thought the queue was fun.
It was fun, but I think that speaks volumes for the actual like
Yeah.
memorability.
Mhm.
Sure, whatever that word is.
You said it right.
Did I? Is that a word? Is memorability?
Memorability? No, it's probably not a word, but you sure said it right.
Okay, whatever. I think that speaks volumes for the umphness of the ride.
How much of an impact it's actually made.
Yes, the queue
and
made
the
more of an
impacts
impact.
that it has made on people's spines are forever lasting.
I don't
but
remember.
not on people's
I don't remember
memories.
being injured, but
No, we didn't get injured. It just
yeah.
wasn't comfortable.
It
wasn't comfortable.
It was fine. Like, I remember just waiting a long time and just being like, okay, that was what it was. Let's
Honestly,
move
they should just
on.
demolish all of Dino Land
Yeah.
USA. That's the Achilles heel of Animal Kingdom.
and
Animal
then
Kingdom is a beautiful, gorgeous park, and it's almost
Yeah.
near perfect, except for Dino Land
And then
USA.
what's the ride that's Indiana Jones carbon copy?
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur. I just remember like going on Dinosaur. I think we went on it twice, and I just
We went on it
remember
a few times.
like visually in my mind just it switched, and I was like in Indiana Jones, and I was
You were
just
envisioning
remembering
the
the
ride.
scenes from Indiana Jones at each turn. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's exactly
it's
the
same path.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so those rides are completely closed forever, which I don't think a lot of people are crying about it.
It's fine.
So,
Yeah.
moving on to the next piece of news. This is kind of more rumors than anything else. So there are a few people who've been flying their drones over Universal Studios Hollywood to see what kind of photos they could take of Halloween Horror Nights construction and things of that nature.
Is that technically illegal?
I think it might be.
Okay.
I don't know. I
Just
don't know if it's a
asking.
no-fly zone over the parks, like
Yeah.
over Knott's or Universal. I know it's a no-fly zone over Disneyland.
Yeah, that's
But
for
I don't
sure.
know about Universal or Knott's. But
Yeah.
you know, people have been flying their drones over the park, and they're getting some interesting photos.
Yeah.
So they've come up with some photos of the two backlot mazes that normally go up for Halloween Horror Nights, which there were photos of the mazes being constructed, the tents were popped up, and facades were actually being built. And then this past week, more photos came around, and the facades started to be were starting to be taken down.
Uh-oh.
And then even more photos came out of the facades completely going away and lumber everywhere. So a lot of people right now are screaming and crying that Halloween Horror Nights here in Hollywood is probably canceled. There's not been official word. There's never been any announcement from Universal at all about the cancellation of Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood. Just these photos. And I do have to say that the photos are pretty telling.
Yeah. And let's be real here for a second. It should be canceled.
Yes, it definitely should be
So
canceled
I think-
considering the circumstances of the world.
So I think if what everyone is assuming is true, I think Universal is making the right move. Everyone needs to stay
Totally.
safe. Everyone needs to stay home. Nobody needs to be going to an event like this. Scare actors don't need to be working an event like this right now and exposing themselves to millions of people running through their mazes every night. It's just not safe. It's not the right time. Good move, Universal, if this is true. Hopefully it's true.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that sentiment. And I know a lot of scare actors who already say, like, hey, we get sick anyway during the season.
It's a germ fest normally.
It's a germ fest normally. We get sick anyway just because of how much we run ourselves ragged. In the world of COVID at this point, do we really want to have that happen and there be scares and people having to get tested every week and things of that nature? I think it's excessive, personally. And I wouldn't want to put anybody in harm's way just for a small piece of entertainment. No matter how much I love Halloween, which everybody listening and you know how much I love, and you love Halloween for that matter. And I just don't find it worthy of it right now. Like, I just don't think it's necessary.
And you know what? 4 months ago, the hashtag was going around like quarantine to save Halloween. Guess what? We didn't quarantine enough. We didn't really save Halloween.
No.
It's
I
our own
don't
fault.
think anybody saved
It's
Halloween.
our own fault.
And Halloween's falling on a Saturday this year, so that sucks.
Yeah, you know, it's your own fault.
Pretty much. We're all going to
California
dress up
in
as
Florida.
creatures and monsters with masks,
Yeah.
N95 masks for Halloween.
No, I'm going to dress up Erin in the cutest freaking outfit I can find and parade her around nowhere. I don't know.
Have her wave from our balcony at passerbyers.
Yeah, I'll
So.
throw candy at her myself.
Yeah. So this is all hearsay. This is just a rumor, so, take that with a grain of salt. But those photos do exist, so you can look at all those photos. We actually posted those photos on our Twitter account, so if you want to go to Twitter and look us up at Theme Park Duo. You can see those photos next to each other and kind of make the decision for yourself until there's actually an official announcement from Universal. So, but as it is right now, we're pretty okay with that decision if it is true.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, we were at City Walk this weekend. We normally go right when it opens, which is around 12 these days.
Yeah.
Not much is going on, but there usually isn't a lot of people there at all. But we went around 5 or 6 o'clock this time, a little bit later in the evening. And I was shocked, simply shocked, at how many people were walking around without masks and the lack of policing of mask wearing at City Walk in Hollywood.
We saw literally a whole family walk out of Voodoo Donuts, literally like 8 feet from the entrance, take off their mask, and just chow down on a box of donuts right in the middle of the walkway.
Yeah, that
why is that?
That can't be.
Why is that okay? Why isn't some security guard running over and saying, "Hey, you bought these donuts? Go find a corner where there's nobody."
Or how about the millions of tables there are?
Yeah, go somewhere where masks are allowed to be taken down for you to eat. Do not stand in the middle of the walkway. It was like so stressful, and you know, our safe spot is we go over to the gates of Universal Studios because not many people are over there. Sure, people take pictures over by the Globe, but not many people go over to where the gates are. So we take our daughter, who's under 2 and doesn't wear a mask yet, and we walk over to the gates and we just let her run around there, and it's our safe spot. It's a fun place for her to be. There's music playing, she's dancing, having fun. But right before we left, we decided to just walk around, where Hard Rock used to be, by the movie theater and all that. And it was very stressful.
It was hectic. It was really
just
hectic.
A lot of people not following the arrow directions on the floor, not obeying the mask rule. A lot of people with masks below their noses, completely useless people, and a lot of security guards
not doing anything,
who it may or may not be their job to police mask wearers, but someone should be responsible for that.
Yeah, and the fact that there really wasn't anybody visible that was controlling it or trying to do anything about it was a little disheartening.
It was disheartening, and it made up our mind that we are only going literally at opening at 12 noon, where there's barely any people there, and that's the only time where we feel comfortable going.
I mean, that is a limited crowd in an outside area.
Yeah.
Like that only proves our point that Halloween Horror Nights shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Imagine that to the nth degree, and that's what Halloween Horror Nights is going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that Halloween Horror Nights potentially isn't happening. I mean, I'm sad that it's not, and I don't like that things are getting canceled because of COVID. But if it's necessary to keep people safe, then totally okay with that.
It's the world we live in right now. It's 2020. It'll get better eventually. We just have to keep telling ourselves that. But for now, we just have to, just trudge through it, pay our dues and just keep going and do what we have to do to keep everyone safe and just make sacrifices and just, we're all in this together ultimately. Just do the best for humanity and,
be good people.
Be good people.
So,
come on.
But with that being said, let's jump into the main topic of this week's episode. We're going to be talking with NICO from Entertainment Connection about Knott's Taste of Calico, their all-new food and retail event that they're throwing at the park with the gates open. People could go inside finally, but just no rides and shows and things of that nature.
And by we mean Gabe, because I'm not going to blame it on Aaron this time. If I'm being honest, I told Gabe I want to wrap myself in a blanket and lay on the couch, and that's what I did.
And do nothing.
And that's what I did.
And that's what she did, and that was fine, and I took care of it.
Because I never do that.
That's true. You don't ever do that. It's hard to get that kind of time when you have a kid, so take the time while you can, people.
Yeah.
But we did interview NICO over the phone. We tried a new technique, putting the phone's audio through our recording, so the audio quality from him is a bit different. It isn't bad. It just sounds like a phone call, so just FYI for everybody listening, the audio does sound a bit different than our normal audio. But I think the content of it will speak for itself rather than just the phone quality of the interview. But before jumping into this, I do want to say that, we have made a very conscious decision of not going to this event.
Yeah.
You know, really weighing risks for ourselves, because not only are we kind of dealing with this because we have a kid, but also, you know, we have grandparents that are susceptible to these things and potentially seeing those people. We really don't want to run the risk of catching anything and passing it along to anybody else. So we had to gauge whether or not this was a valid risk to take, and we truly didn't believe that going to an event, although outside and plenty of risk management things were put into place, we just didn't feel like it was worth the risk for us to go to something like this.
We believe that Knott's put every possible precaution that they could in place, and it is up to the individual, you know, park goer whether or not they want to take that risk or not. And obviously it was very successful, you know, for the limited number of tasting cards and tickets they sold out.
Spoiler
so
alert.
No, well, yeah,
I was gonna say it after.
I'm sure everyone knew it already. But you know, so ultimately it was a successful event for Knott's in the safe way that they could have this event. But we personally, given our circumstances and, you know, our lives and the people we're trying to keep safe, we decided it wasn't worth the risk for us to go.
Especially with their spikes happening in Orange County and things of that nature. But when it really comes down to, when it comes to events like this, when it comes to any really large mass gathering event, with or without precautions, I suggest that everybody kind of take a look at the situation, really gauge whether or not it's worth the risk for you.
Yeah.
For us personally, going to something like this was not. We spoke to somebody who went, who felt like the risk was worth it for them to go, which is fine. And I'm not going to judge anybody for, you know, making that decision or not. Just for us personally, we didn't find that the risk was worth it. So, you know, we aren't necessarily saying, you know, go out, have fun, everything's normal, because it clearly isn't.
It's up to
it's up to
each
everybody
and every
to
individual.
make sure you're being responsible when it comes to these situations. So that is something I do want to say and preface this episode with before jumping into anything, because I do think it's important to state that it's really, really, really important that everybody does their part and act responsibly when at events like this, or any place where you're going to be around people, whether that be Knott's Berry Farm for a Taste of Calico, or Target, or the market, or whatever it may be. Just, you know, be good people like we've always said, and make sure that you're taking the responsibility into your own hands to wear a mask, social distance, respect people's space, and things of that nature. So I think it's really important.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, we're a theme park podcast in a year of no theme parks. So we are bringing you the information we have. Knott's has an event we personally don't feel comfortable going, but we know someone who did, so we are sharing the information. Do we go to certain things? Do we go to City Walk? Yes. Gabe has gone to the Knott's Marketplace several times and felt perfectly comfortable going, wearing a mask. Everyone's wearing a mask. Yes. So we are not condoning or condemning anything. We are just giving everyone the information of everything that is available this year.
That's pretty much what it comes down to. And we want to give everybody the information because we do think it's important to pass it along. And also, you know, Knott's is our home park, and we support them, and I want to share the event and hope that it's a success for them, because I want Knott's to do well. And
I do personally believe that they are being as safe as they possibly can.
Yeah, and I think every park is, to be fairly honest. I think Knott's is being extremely proactive in what they're trying to do to keep people safe. As you'll hear in the interview with NICO, you know, taking it further steps than a few other parks in SoCal, but implementing different temperature checking stations than just the normal thermometer guns that other places have been implementing.
Aaron hates.
Aaron cries.
You'll hear it later.
You'll hear more about that later too. But you know, you'll hear information about the social distancing guidelines and what precautions they're taking and things of that nature. But you hear all of that in the interview. But let's waste no more time. Let's jump right into that interview with NICO from Entertainment Connection and talk about Knott's Taste of Calico. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Trip Report segment. I am joined by a good friend of the show. He went out to check out Knott's Taste of Calico, the brand new, all-new food and retail event that Knott's is doing during these weird times of ours. And our friend is NICO from Entertainment Connection. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Gabe. How are you doing? Hey, everyone.
Doing well. I don't think everyone will give you a response like I will, but I will give you a response, and I am doing great.
Perfect. Good.
Yeah, I was actually at Knott's this morning. I wasn't able to attend Taste of Calico, but I was there this morning to kind of check out some of the newer happenings that were there that I know that you got to see. And it's kind of nice to see the farm kind of come back to life a little bit.
It is. It's still kind of weird because obviously not everything is back to normal, but it is good to still get a taste of Knott's and its theme park.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, regardless of whether or not it's, hanging out front like a weirdo staring at the entrance or getting some fried chicken to have to take home, it is very, very nice, like you said, to have a piece of the park to kind of just have. So, we take what we can at the moment, and, with this brand new event that Knott's has created, we have a much better opportunity to kind of get at least a little bit closer to having Knott's Berry Farm back again. I know that you kind of experienced it a little bit like I did. They kind of started pretty slow. Obviously, Taste of Calico took a little bit of time to show up. But before that, they started adding, the tables to the main street that kind of runs through. Is it Grand Avenue that runs through Knott's? I might be wrong. Oh my God, someone's going to be so mad at me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I'll say that now. They put picnic tables, out there on that road so that people could sit down and eat their chicken to go. They even set up some tables for Mrs. Knott's Chicken Dinner to have outdoor seating too. So it's really cool to have them kind of at least expand so that people can have those offerings back.
So when they opened the Chicken to Go way back when, did they have the tables set up outside straight away? Because I personally don't remember the tables being set up. I think it took a little bit of time for them to add that element to the street.
Yeah, so when they opened up Chicken to Go, those tables were not there. No, they weren't at all. That main thoroughfare through Knott's was just completely closed, and you would have to go around over to Crescent Avenue in order to get to parking. But there was really no access to that area. There was just nothing there. And it did take a little bit of time for Knott's to add the stage for the band and the picnic tables and things like that.
Yeah.
At first, when you asked that question, I thought you were talking about when, like, Mrs. Knott's Chicken Dinner, like, first opened up, and I was like, dude, I have no idea. I can't give you answers. I'm not a historian like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so when Chicken to Go first opened, it didn't have any of the tables outside. Like you said, it did take a little bit of time. I don't think any of the shops were really open as well. I think just the marketplace.
Yeah.
And the bakery and the Chicken to Go. And then with time, they added Mrs. Knott's, Virginia's, the Emporium. When I went to Mrs. Knott's the first time, it was kind of weird because when you walk up, you're not going through the main doors. You have to go through the backside where, if any of you guys have done it for the buffet at Mrs. Knott's, you have to enter through the back way.
For Haunt.
Yeah.
That's odd. That's so weird because I'm so used to only going through that entrance for Haunt that now if I were to go to Mrs. Knott's Chicken Dinner and I were to go through there, I would expect some monsters around the corner.
Exactly. So it was kind of weird just having to enter through the back way and then just seeing the plexiglass up everywhere and doing everything yourself when purchasing items in the store. It's very odd.
It's the new normal. It's the new normal that feels very, very weird, especially given, at least my experience. You could speak for yourself. My experience, Knott's customer service is pretty fantastic. I've never really ran into a Knott's employee that's really given me a really hard time or, hasn't been pleasant. So it's weird to kind of take a lot of that their responsibility and start, doing half their job. It just feels so odd. But I mean, whatever it takes to keep people safe or, keep the employees safe of Knott's, I'm willing to do that. But yeah, that new normal is so weird to see all the plexiglass, see doing checkout on your own and stuff like that. It's just odd.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, with the team members who work there, they seemed genuinely excited to be there and to see us.
I feel like it's an excitement that things are slightly back to normal, even though they really, really are far from it. It's a taste of normalcy that I think any sane person would want. So, yeah, I agree with you. I definitely see a light in the employees' eyes, like some excitement. So it is nice that they're excited as much as we are to be back and things like that. So I'm very excited for them to finally get back to work.
When Mrs. Knott's opened, just a few weeks later, the restaurant had to close back down because California guidelines. And then, like I was telling you yesterday, I did not notice the outside seating for Mrs. Knott's in the street. So I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, no, it is very, very cool. And I actually spoke to one of the hostesses that was over there this morning, kind of just asking about mask guidelines, what the rules were. Because I'm going to be fairly honest, like on the show, we've talked about this before. The only issue with theme parks or any area with lots of people, the only X factor are people. That is ultimately the biggest question mark in any experience at this point, because any place, whether it be Six Flags, Knott's, Universal, Disney, they could all plan their things to the T. But it doesn't mean a thing until people actually listen to those rules. So when I was there, I was actually genuinely curious. What are the rules and regulations of masks here in the marketplace and with Taste of Calico? Now, because I actually saw somebody there only wearing a face shield. And that's what spurred me on to ask the question. So I was like, okay, well, are people allowed to wear face shields and no mask, or do they have to wear a mask? And then I saw something really weird, and it's really hard to describe. But imagine like a face shield, but it was a face shield that came from the chin, and it almost looked like a mask, but it was the face shield. So it was, the top of it was open, but there was a face shield coming from your jawline.
For some reason, I'm just picturing the Maliboomer face shield.
No, that's literally it. That's literally it. Like, I'm not even lying. Just imagine a much fatter and chubbier, stouter version of that.
That is very bizarre.
It was very bizarre, and obviously, I was like, I want to ask a question. So, to me, that was unacceptable. But like the face shield, the genuine face shield, I was actually curious. So the answer I got was, when you're in the marketplace, you either have to wear a mask, like the mask that I wear or you wear, we've seen each other wear, everyone else is wearing, or a face shield. Face shields are okay in the marketplace without a mask. And then obviously when you sit down to eat at chicken dinner or at the picnic tables, you can take off your mask, your face shield, and you can eat in those designated areas. But when you are in the park, when you are inside the gates for Taste of Calico, you must wear a mask unless you're eating in a designated area. So just face shields aren't good enough.
Interesting. That's very good to know.
Yeah, and for me, I think those kinds of pieces of information are actually incredibly important for the process for people showing up to the event, because people want to know what the safety protocols are, people want to know what the rules are, and then even the people who don't like the rules need to know what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable, and if they're going to toe the line, then that allows them to toe the line, but at least they know what the rules are. And and I do think that it should be a little bit more clear. I mean, I know that it says face mask, but I think at this point in time, because of the divisiveness of masks, I think that Knott's, and any other place for that matter, really needs to be very specific in the verbiage that they're using in order to tell people you are allowed A, B, and C, not E, F, G. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, I mean, I don't know what your experiences were for a Taste of Calico. We'll get into that. And I know that, I saw a lot of posts from like Parks and Cons, from you, Entertainment Connection, from SoCal Exploring, Scott over there. A lot of people were posting about the social distancing guidelines, the lines outside of the park. And you mentioned a very unique way of taking temperatures for people that are very different than what we've seen at Universal or Disney.
Yeah. I got there around 3:30. There's a pretty long line, but when you get to the front of the line, there's a team member there who is asking you if you have a ticket, and there's a board to my right, her left, that has all of the symptoms of COVID-19. She asks you if you've experienced any of these symptoms or are experiencing them right now. So if you say no, they'll let you in. I haven't heard any yeses, so I'm pretty sure they would turn you away.
Who would say, oh, yeah, I got COVID. Totally got COVID.
I know. I thought that was kind of weird. Like, I don't think anybody would really, like, admit they have it so they don't experience the event. So that was kind of odd.
Yeah, a little bit.
With the temperature screenings at Downtown Disney or Universal, like when I went to Downtown Disney opening day, it was a long line, and it didn't take long, but it took a bit of time. There was a lot of stopping and going. At Knott's, it was a lot simpler. The line just kept moving consistently. It didn't stop. The only time you stopped is before you entered the building, but with their temperature screenings, you enter a main line, and then there's 4 separate lines. There's a team member at the front of each line telling you, go to line 1, go to line 2, go to line 3, go to line 4, so on and so forth. So they told me to go down line 3. Me, being used to the temperature guns, I was walking up and I was about to stop, but he's like, no, just keep walking through. And I saw like 2 thermometer cameras on 2 podiums. And then they just check your temperature through a camera and you just walk on through.
That seems so much more efficient.
It was super efficient. I got through that line in maybe 5 minutes.
Oh, so that quick.
Yeah. And I was about like 50 people deep in the line. So I just walked on through.
That seems like a big step up from, thermometer guns where you have to have somebody stop and, creating a little bit of a hold up, especially for us, especially because, we like going to City Walk because there's not a lot of people and it gives a lot of room for Aaron to run around. But, oh man, does Aaron hate that thermometer gun. Like, this scary ass person with a mask and a face shield comes up to her, pointing something at her face. She cries every time. So,
yes.
Having something as effective as a thermometer camera where you don't have that scary experience for a 2-year-old would be very, very nice.
Definitely. Even with Aaron, like with me, like when I first went to City Walk, like I was expecting it. I've seen videos of people in Florida walking through with temperature guns, so on and so forth. But when they're actually like aiming it at your forehead, you're kind of caught off guard.
It feels weird. It feels really weird. It's like you're pointing a gun at my head. Why am I allowing this?
Yeah, exactly. I think I went cross-eyed, like trying to stare at the middle of the gun.
Yeah. I just don't look. I'm just like, just get this over with, please. Just stop. You know what they should do? Have you ever seen the movie Idiocracy?
No, I have not.
So the general premise of this movie is that this normal, everyday Joe Schmo gets cryogenically frozen and kept in this container. But unfortunately, the rest of the world pretty much crumbles around him, and everyone becomes stupider, way more stupid. So he becomes the smartest man on earth, even though he's just normal. And so when he goes to the hospital, there's this long line of people, and he shows up and they try to take his temperature. And this dude just hands him these 3 cords, and he goes, this one goes in your ear, this one goes in your mouth, this one goes in your butt. And he does all of them. And he goes, oh, wait, no, that's wrong. And then grabs all of the cords away from him and starts mixing them up. And he goes, this one goes in your mouth, this one goes in your, this one goes in your butt. And he's like, oh, God, no. They should do that at the theme parks now.
Definitely.
It would deter everybody from going.
Absolutely. Crowds would be at an all-time low.
Do you know the Twitter handle Fake Theme Park? You ever heard of that?
Yes, I love them. So funny.
I feel like I should tell them to post something about how they have temperature checks, but they're only rectal thermometers.
Oh, perfect. Would it be out in public, or do you go to a separate
right
room?
out in public. Drop trowel, shove it up there, check the temp, good to go. That is literally fantastic. It. Yes. Anyway, moving forward from anal thermometers. So you get into the park. Oh, by the way, quick question. Is parking the same? You just go over around Crescent to the marketplace parking, or do you have to park across the street and pay for parking?
No. It's right off of Crescent, and there's just a team member standing there asking what you're there for. And I said, Taste of Calico, and he told me where to park, and that was that.
Oh, that's
so
very
super
simple. Yeah,
and
I didn't
free.
know whether or not they
So-
were going to start charging in for the experience, but it's good to know that they're not charging yet. So that's a question I get. That's a question I get all the time. Is like, hey, you're going to Knott's. Are they charging for parking? No. So good to hear that they're not doing that for the event.
No charging as of yet. I think when the theme park actually opens, that's when the charging will happen.
More than likely, I would agree with that. So, with all that being said, you finally get into the park. First thing I want to know is emotions. This is the first time you've been inside the park in a very long time. And for a lot of people like us, who love theme parks,
Yeah.
not having the park for that period of time is weird. So how did it feel stepping back inside the gates again?
Man, so it was really exciting. Like my mind just went like all scatterbrained. When they scan your ticket, they give you the Taste of Calico tasting card. And right when you go through the turnstile and you see that windmill with the cowboy
Yeah.
and the lady dancing, like everything just disappeared on the outside world. And it felt like home.
I think that's the most apt description of stepping back into a place that is so familiar and that you love so much. It just feels like home.
It was weird not seeing Silver Bullet running or hearing the roar of Ghost Rider, but just being able to step into the gates, go through the turnstile, and then I should add that there are barriers right when you enter the park. So to the right where Camp Snoopy is, there's barriers there. There's barriers over by Silver Bullet, so you cannot enter those areas. But that was fine with me, just walking into Ghost Town and walking under that Calico sign or the Ghost Town sign. Man, it was very surreal.
I think just really because of the nature of life right now and the uncertainties that all of it brings, going to a theme park after this long is going to feel so alien when it's something that's so familiar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be an adjustment period, especially not just because of the new rules and regulations and everything that kind of goes along with it, but the emotions that go along with that. So
Yes.
it is a very interesting experience, and I'm glad to hear that your reaction was one that I don't think would be too far off from my own. Going to Knott's before any of this started going on, like when they first started opening up Berry Market and Chicken to Go, I had a very visceral reaction just showing up there. Like you said, it's the roar of Ghost Rider not being there, the laughing of families being absent, people joking around and being just jovial is missing, completely absent. So it's just such a very weird experience.
Like you said, just being there, being able to taste that chicken again, it was something that we all needed.
I don't think everyone knew they needed it, but as soon as it hits your
True.
lips,
True.
you needed it.
Yes.
So you're inside the gates, you got your tasting card. What is on the tasting card for the $25?
With the $25, you get 5 tastings. To go a little bit more in depth with the tasting card, because in previous years, like with Boysenberry Festival, Food and Wine Festival, so on and so forth, you would have tabs that were on the side of the card that you would tear off and give to the cast member or team member working to receive your food. But when I first saw the tasting card for Taste of Calico, it was a QR code.
Huh, interesting.
I like that the safety measures that they went with that. And it's a very smart safety measure to go with. So yeah, with the food, we have Sutter's Grill, which is right when you enter Ghost Town, it's to the right next to the Native American village.
Yeah.
Sutter's Grill has basil lemonade, pulled pork sliders, mac and cheese bites with french fries and sriracha ketchup, boysenberry barbecue wings, and samosas with a boysenberry chutney. But it doesn't say on here for the pulled pork sliders. I received fries with mine, so I don't know if that was a mistake or...
I would assume that that's probably a mistake, because it's not often that these tastings usually come with sides or that they're complete meals. So maybe you just got lucky on the first day.
Man, I hope so. One thing to know when going to this event is they do not have any fountain drinks at all.
Oh, zero?
Yeah, so I was gonna get a boysenberry punch because I love boysenberry punch, but they just weren't serving any fountain drinks. You have to go to different carts and get a bottle, and then they'll give you a cup with ice, and then you have to pour like your Coke, Sprite, Diet Coke, so on and so forth.
I mean, that's a safety measure to make sure that, you know, people aren't getting it from contact, which is a good safety measure to have, but it's just, once again, one of those very weird, different things that we're not used to yet.
Yeah, that was interesting. So I wasn't going to get the basil lemonade, but I got the basil lemonade so I could have something to drink with these foods.
Yeah.
With the basil lemonade, it was very good. I'm not a big fan of like leafy drinks. So for me personally,
so like tea, because that's literally all leaves.
I'm not a tea guy. My uncle tried to make me drink an iced tea once, and I. But,
so you don't like the lemonade simply based on the fact that there's basil in it.
I'm not saying it was bad. It's just not something that I would get again.
See, that's something that I would get in a heartbeat because I love basil, love lemonade. I've had basil lemonade before, so that's something I would go for very quickly.
Well, you know what? If we ever meet up and there's only basil lemonade, you could drink it all.
I will take all the basil lemonade from you, Nico. I will take it all.
Yes.
I will take every last
Perfect.
trip of it.
I will admit, though, that the basil lemonade went really, really well with the wing.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that, you know, Knott's really thinks about these pairings, especially with the foods that are at these different locations, specifically the foods that are at single locations, making sure those foods balance well together and, you know, coexist well on the level of a flavor palette. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I wasn't thinking anything of it, but when I ate a wing and then I took a drink of that lemonade, like, wow, that lemonade got a lot better.
That lemonade got so much better when I couldn't taste it and my palate only tasted like boysenberry. Woo! Love that lemonade.
Don't judge me.
So Sutter's had that, and what are some of the other locations?
So we have Ghost Town Grub. I believe that is the location next to the windmill where the Catawampus is.
Yeah, it's right next to Goldie's. It shares like the wall of Goldie's.
That one has mini funnel cake with boysenberry topping, Mrs. Knott's biscuit bites with boysenberry butter dipping sauce,
Ooh,
bread pudding with a creme. I'm not even gonna try. Anglaise.
creme anglaise.
Anglaise.
Creme anglaise.
There we go.
You could do it. I believe in you.
Thank you. At least somebody does. And then right across the way at Fireman's Barbecue, they have the boysenberry sausage on a hoagie bun, roasted corn with butter and cotija cheese.
Cotijas cheese.
I got it right at the very end.
I don't even have it in front of me, and I know what you're trying to say. It has a J in there, doesn't it?
Oh, it sure does. I only took 1 year of Spanish in 7th grade. Don't judge me.
Well, I'm Mexican, so don't worry about it. I'm cheating. I'm playing. You're playing in a weighted game here, so don't worry about it.
And then the last, they have another basil lemonade.
Oh God, your worst enemy. It's everywhere for you.
I know.
Goodness gracious. And you had to get it again because there's no fountain drinks.
I know.
So the one item that I was most curious about, the one that I wanted the most, was the bread pudding. Did you happen to try the bread pudding?
I did not. No.
What the hell, Nico?
All right. So my reason is
you spent 3 tastings at Sutter's. And one of them was for one you didn't even like.
This is my thing, though. I have 5 tastings. I wanted an appetizer, 2 entrees, a dessert, and a drink. I didn't want to get my dessert before my main course.
Fine, fair enough.
Whatever.
Fair enough.
And then by the time I got back to the Ghost Town Grub, the line was all the way back to where the Undertaker coffin was.
Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah.
But also I guess you have to think, like, I'm thinking about it in the sense of normal lines. Like, that is a very long line in the sense of a normal line, but when you have 6 feet between each group, it's not that bad. It's just visually a little imposing.
It's not that bad, but like with Sutter's, that line went all the way to the Stagecoach Bridge, where the stagecoach goes over.
Yeah, that's a good long way.
Yeah, like what you were saying, though, like, oh, people are staying 6 feet apart from each other. The line will go quickly. I waited about 35 minutes in that line.
Goodness gracious.
Yes. But that's also taking into consideration that there was a team member there wiping down the counter and the railings after every group.
Okay, so that I'll excuse the long line because of that.
Yeah.
Is that all the food offerings that they have for this year, for this event?
No, there is a lot more.
So name them all, my friend. Keep going.
All right. So Wilderness Broiler, I don't know where that location is, to be honest.
Wilderness Broiler is across the way from Calico River Rapids. Pretty sure. It used to be the Bigfoot burger place.
Yes. Gotcha. Okay. They have cucumber lemonade, deep fried potato chips with an onion dip, pastrami sandwich on a pretzel bun with boysenberry mustard, and a side of chips.
Ooh.
Dang, I wish I could have gotten that. I'm so stupid.
Now you have to go back.
Anyways, I know, I gotta go back. Wilderness Dance Hall patio, that is to the right of the Wilderness Dance Hall, in between the cemetery and Wilderness Dance Hall, that had gumbo with chicken, shrimp, and boysenberry sausage on basmati rice.
You're struggling today, aren't you?
Absolutely. I'm so exhausted from yesterday. Man,
It's okay. Don't worry about it. We're here. We're gonna get through this together.
you learn that your only exercise is walking through theme parks when you do these things.
And half the time your mouth is full of food, so it's not like you could do too much breathing.
10,000%. and then boysenberry flavored beer, wine, or sangria, and then a boysenberry smoothie.
See, that's where you catch me. I mean, you're talking about appetizers, entrees, and desserts. You know, you got your carbs in the beer, you got your sugars in the beer, you got your berries in the beer. That sounds like you hit all of the necessary items for an appetizer, entrees, desserts, and a drink.
Gabe, the more I am reading this tasting card, the more I am realizing that I did this all wrong.
You were just very overwhelmed needing being back at the park. That's all it was. I'll blame it on that. But now you know. Now you need to go back and try the other stuff.
Absolutely. And it's only this weekend and next weekend, so
Better hurry up.
I know. Then we have the Gourmet Churro Factory, which is right across the way from the saloon, and that has mini stuffed churro with boysenberry filling. And then Mix It Up, which is right next to that, to the right of it. It has boysenberry jam sugar cookie witch, a boysenberry icy float, and cucumber lemonade. And that is where I got my last remaining items, which was the boysenberry jam sugar cookie witch and the boysenberry icy float.
The cookie witches did look really, really good.
Man, it was so good. But when I tried to bite into that cookie, like, the cookie was pretty hard, so the ice cream just smashed all into my mouth. Not a problem.
Tastes delicious. Just didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
Absolutely. And then Judge Roy Bean, which is to the left of the Stagecoach entrance.
Yes.
Steak chili with a boysenberry cornbread muffin, boysenberry flavored beer, wine, and sangria, and boysenberry smoothie. So a lot of these locations have repeat offerings.
I'm pretty sure that's by design, though, so that not one location is completely bombarded with hundreds of people trying to get one specific item. And I actually think that's a genuinely smart move on Knott's part to make sure that, each item has multiple locations so that people are spread out.
Yeah, definitely. And like the Fireman's Barbecue and Sutter's Grill, those had the two longest lines at the beginning of the event. So if you wanted your basil lemonade, you're going to be stuck in a line.
So I guess this kind of leads us to, the topic of the day, and the topic of the last freaking 4 months is, how safe did you feel at Knott's? And did you feel like the lengths that Knott's were going to in order to guarantee guest safety was enough?
So I'm going to start off by saying that I felt way safer at Knott's than I did at Downtown Disney.
Really?
I don't know if it's because everybody's excitement for Disney, so everybody crowded that place early, made it feel a little less safe for me. And then like with Knott's, it started at 4, so a lot of people are getting off of work or still at work, so it wasn't as crowded. but I felt a lot safer at Knott's.
So, and that's with the social distancing guidelines. Was everybody wearing a mask? Did you ever once encounter anybody not wearing a mask outside of the designated relaxing areas, which are around Knott's Berry Farm?
Yeah, so there is a relax zone over at the Mystery Lodge. So the waiting area for the Mystery Lodge is now a relax zone. Not the inside where you go into the theater, but the outside portion with the queue. Everybody was, like, I didn't notice anybody not wearing a mask. So everybody was following the guidelines. There were team members when a line would get too long and there wouldn't be the social distancing stickers on the floor. There were team members going around being like, "Hi folks, could you just scoot back a little bit?" So that was awesome.
When it really comes down to like going to these events, it's the attention to detail, like those things, that make guests feel safe, and make you feel safe. So I'm glad that Knott's is taking the extra steps in order to really make sure that every single person that steps through those gates feels like they're being taken care of and feels like they're being safe. And I'm actually really, really happy that everybody was following the rules and not taking out their mask when they weren't supposed to, or, disrespecting the rules in any sort of way.
Yeah, like what I was saying, like no one was not following the rules. So I didn't get to really experience any team members being like, "Hey, you got to get your mask on," or anything like that. But just the separation of lines is the furthest I've seen of a team member stepping in, trying to keep everyone safe. And then also, when I first walked into the gates, there were hand sanitizer stations everywhere.
I saw those today. I went over to the exit and I saw that there was hand sanitizer stations at every single turnstile almost. So it sounds like you had a fantastic time. It sounds like Knott's once again hit it out of the ballpark with fantastic food, fantastic environments, and something we didn't talk about, but they had characters up on the buildings talking to people down below and having conversations and things. So it isn't just food outside. Never mind the motorcycle farting outside my window. It isn't just food and music. It's a small taste of what Knott's used to be, and soon will be again in the future. But right now we can take what we can get, and it sounds like the experiences that they're providing right now are things that people just need right now in their life. But I guess the last question I have for you is, comparatively, which is a little unfair naturally to compare this event to other events given the circumstances, but comparatively, do you feel like this kind of event, and this event specifically, falls in line with what Knott's usually does, and would you consider going back?
Yes, absolutely. I would consider going back. The event is mostly similar to the Boysenberry Festival. It doesn't have a lot of the variety that the Boysenberry Festival has, but it is a very well done event. One more thing with the safety is after every 2 or 3 songs, they do have an announcement over the park telling you to wear your face mask or social distance, so on and so forth. So I really like that. But yeah, I think this is definitely an event I will attend again. I think the Taste of Calico is obviously just for the time being because we do have Boysenberry Festival, so I don't really expect it to come back unless this goes on for however long.
Much longer.
Yes. So, yeah, I think it was a great event.
Well, that's good to hear. And, it sounds like Knott's is usually pretty consistent in their ability to kind of execute these kinds of events. And I'm glad this is no question with regards to its quality and the type of experiences that you've come to know and love from Knott's Berry Farm. So thank you very much for coming on the show today and talking about your experiences over at Taste of Calico. If you guys want to experience Taste of Calico, this obviously is only a 2-weekend thing. So this episode you're hearing right now came out on Monday. So you better head on over to knotts.com and check out to see if those tickets are still available. Once again, make sure and evaluate whether or not it's worth it for you to go to any event, considering the circumstances of COVID-19. Please, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. Make sure you think about those things before pulling the trigger and going. But thank you so much again for joining us on the show. Make sure you tell everybody who's listening how they can find you on social media and how they can follow Entertainment Connection.
So you could follow me on Twitter at the ENT Connect, over on Instagram at Entertainment Connection, and then YouTube at the Entertainment Connection.
NICO has fantastic coverage of a lot of different theme parks, Disney, Knott's, Universal, things like that. So make sure you follow him on his social media channels, because I genuinely enjoy following along with his adventures he does. It's just completely like straight off the cuff remarks regarding everything, and I appreciate that, because sometimes people,
try to be as real as possible.
Yeah, because people are pretty much like trying to be characters. They're trying to be somebody else. You're just you. You're telling it how it is, and I appreciate that. So if you like that kind of coverage, if you like the honest truth, make sure you follow NICO at Entertainment Connection on all those channels. So once again, NICO, thank you so much for joining us, and I had a blast talking Knott's Taste of Calico with you.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you for having me on.
From NICO's account, it really feels like Knott's was trying 110% with making sure that guests feel safe and are safe when it comes to the thermal cameras for people entering, social distancing guidelines and markers on the floor, to wiping down counters and railings, and even to the extent of having lines go past the social distancing guidelines and having attendants there to make sure that social distancing continues to happen even if there's no stickers on the floor. So, like I said on this show before and in today's show, the X factor is the people.
Yeah, and
So,
honestly,
you can't predict what people are going to do.
yeah, and honestly, if I expected any park to be like crazy, like meticulous about, keeping people safe, it would be Knott's.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would say with that.
and yes, the X factor is the people, and that's the part where we kind of felt, where we were weighing the options, like, okay, how safe is Knott's making this event? Ultimately the X factor for us is the people going. And that's the part where we felt uncomfortable. Like, well, we don't know who's going.
How many people,
yeah.
And how the situations are going to be.
How serious the park goers are going to take this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's
those
why
are big things for us.
why we decided ultimately not to go. But we applaud Knott's for all of the steps that they are taking for making sure everyone is as safe as possible.
Yeah, and ultimately it really doesn't matter, because as Nikki said,
It's
Taste of Calico sold out completely. It sold out within 2 days.
Yeah.
So, and it was a limited run. It was 2 weekends.
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked by
And
that.
also probably limited capacity.
Majorly limited capacity.
Yeah.
But also something that NICO didn't mention because he just did not experience it, but there were photos of lines for some of these tastings just being crazy long.
Yeah.
Like over an hour-long wait just for food.
He went on a Friday,
that's a little
right?
rough. Yeah, he went on a Friday.
So there was Saturday and Sunday
yeah.
where it really picked up and, reached capacity. And, you probably saw what was really going on.
Yeah, so, the lines got really long for it. So I do think that is something that needs to be addressed. If Taste of Calico is going to have an extended run, if they're going to add weekends to this, I think that's something that they can address and make a little bit better, because if you're going to have an event like this, I don't think it's appropriate to have waits that are over an hour long for a piece of food.
That's just people waiting in lines, close to other people for far too long.
Yeah.
So I would say they either need to lower the amount of people that they let in per day if they are to continue this event, or add more stations.
Yeah, I would say add more stations, because I'm assuming that the cap of people that they've added to this event is probably somewhere that
like break-even budget.
It's kind of close to break-even, I'm assuming.
I'm sure they want to make a bit of a profit.
It's really difficult to make profit off of something like this.
Yeah.
Especially because you're paying everybody to be there, and although, the tasting cards are $25 each.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just seems difficult to make a profit off of that, but, I'm sure Knott's, every single time they've done an event, they've always addressed weak points. So if Taste of Calico does come back at some point or has an extended run, hopefully they will address these little problems and make things a bit smoother and easier. Because I know that Knott's is able and capable of doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but it sounds like NICO had a bunch of fun. I'm glad he went and had a bunch of fun. We want to thank him again for coming on the show to talk to us about his experiences at Knott's Berry Farm for a taste of Calico. Make sure you follow Entertainment Connection on all social media platforms. NICO has great coverage of lots of theme park goodness, including Disney, Universal, Knott's, and Six Flags, and things of that nature.
Yep.
So, but thank you again, everybody, for listening to this week's show. We always appreciate everybody tuning into these episodes. We have so much fun recording them, and hopefully everybody has fun listening to them, laughing at our ridiculousness.
Ha ha ha. Gabe just looked at me like, okay, your turn to say something, and I had nothing to say, so I
So
just
you
laughed.
laughed. You fake
Yeah.
laughed. That works. That's
Yeah.
fine. I'll take it.
I'm being honest. I had nothing to
I
add.
appreciate honesty.
You threw it to me, and I'm like,
Yeah, pretty much. You fumbled it. You fumbled it. The other team picked six. They took it and ran it back for
Football reference? Woo! Way over my
your
head.
Probably a
Yeah.
lot of over other people's heads. So that's fine. Let's move on from that. But thank you
Gabe,
for tuning
theme
into
park podcast.
Not
Theme park,
sports
not
podcast.
sports podcast.
Sorry.
Pick six, what?
You pick 6 seats in the theater to watch Mystery Lodge. You get it to yourself. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this week's episode. We always appreciate everybody tuning in. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if you haven't already, make sure you leave us a 5-star written review over in iTunes. It always helps us out. It's a free way of supporting the show, and it helps us to go up higher in the standings. It makes it easier for people to find us and enjoy us like you are right now. And if you haven't already, also head on over to your social media platform of choice and follow us at Theme Park Duo. You can find us at Theme Park Duo on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, which we drop these podcasts on YouTube every episode. So you'll find all of our episodes here on YouTube. But you could also find some other fun videos that we've done.
Yeah.
So you can find those on YouTube as well. But if you want to reach out to us with any questions, comments, concerns, topics that you want to hear us talk about, things of that nature, you can always reach out to us at
themeparkduo@gmail.com.
And if you guys are wondering what that weird noise is in the background, it's because we bought birds.
It-
And they're tweeting away in the background.
Okay, we bought birds like 3 weeks ago, but honestly, they may not even be able to hear it. But if you
They may
can,
not, yeah.
if you can hear it, Gabe likes to point out every little sound, even if you can hear it or not.
That's because I want people to know that it isn't
You're self-conscious.
some weird noise in the background. I'm not self-conscious. That's
You're
not
self-conscious
it.
about
No,
background
I'm not.
noise.
I just want people to know what the weird tweety noise
Okay.
is in the background of our episode.
It may be a bird that you're hearing. If you hear like
2 birds.
Oh, yeah, but only one is being obnoxiously loud
Yeah,
right now.
he's literally at the edge of the cage staring at us right now.
That would be Tonga.
Yes. So
What's our other bird's name, Gabe?
Roa.
Tongaroa. Do not say anything else. Email us at themeparkduo@gmail.com if you know what that means.
I'm sure they know what it is.
I want responses. No one ever emails us, Gabe.
They do emails. Remember we got cat photos.
Yeah, that was like a year ago.
Yeah, but it happened.
Hey, first person that emails us the correct answer gets something.
There you go. Yeah,
That's it. Get
okay,
something.
Fine. Prize to the first person who
Prize-
answers that email.
Prize to the first
I don't care
person who
it
knows
is.
the reference.
Prize for the first email that says it.
Yes. Not Twitter, not Facebook, not
Email.
Instagram. The first email at themeparkduo@gmail.com. You get a bonus prize if you send a cat photo. Boom.
I hope you have prizes lined up, Nikki.
You do, Gabe.
I do?
Yes,
Okay,
you do.
sure I do.
You do.
I'll figure it out.
You do.
Surprise prize giveaway.
Tonga and Roa. Come on, people. Come on.
Come on, it's not that hard.
Come on.
Anyway, aside from the birds, which I just wanted to be a quick aside, which it turned
Is
into much more than
anything
that.
ever a quick aside
No,
with
it's
me?
never. No, never.
No.
Never, never.
And this is my time to shine because I wasn't in the meat of the episode, Gabe.
Yeah, you definitely you are considered a side for
I
this.
am a side, so I'm shining right now.
We're saying aside and side a lot, and it's really odd. It feels weird. It feels like I'm saying something wrong, but I'm not.
Sorry? I don't know. I don't care.
No, neither do I. Anyway, thank you again for listening to this week's episode, everybody. And always remember,
there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
See ya.
Thanks for riding with the Theme Park Duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.